Warning: this episode will discuss very heavy topics. Viewer discretion is advised. Before I officially start my recap, I'm going to show you some things I did off stream. First of all, I did the Blitzel event in the Peridot ward, and it turned out to be a shiny. Then I did a bunch of the other Pokemon events, and I also spent a lot of time at the game corner getting all the Pokemon and TMs they had. And also, I kind of just explored with the item finder and found a lot of random stuff that I'm probably just going to sell. I really just wanted to tell you about the Blitzel since it looks really cool and I want to use it. I also realized I forgot to talk to this guy at the Grand Hall who wants to sell me a very rare and powerful Pokemon for $500. You see, the joke is that it's a Magikarp, one of the weakest Pokemon. But he's actually the one who's about to be bamboozled since Magikarp evolves into Gyarados, one of the strongest Pokemon. But since this is Pokemon Reborn and they can't just hand me anything super OP yet, I'm the one who gets bamboozled, since someone steals the Magikarp, starting a super long and annoying side quest that I've never actually finished before. But I know that Gyarados will be a valuable asset to my team for the 16th gym. For the record, I have 2 badges right now. Now, it's time to advance the plot. I check out the Barrow Ward, and it's no different from Jasper with all the tentacles of mass destruction. Since most of the ward is blocked off, I can only go west into this random jungle that just happens to be in a major city. I go collect some invisible items, but then I see a visible item and greedily run into it. Oh, of course, it's an obvious trap. But to my surprise, it wasn't set by Team Meteor. It was set by this gang of Nuzleaf. They then knock me out, transport me to another cage, and I don't even want to think about what else could have happened to me while I was passed out. But when I wake up, Fern is taunting me. He offers to rescue me if I beg for it, but I'd rather die a slow, painful death as I starve in this tiny little cage while being exposed to the elements. Fortunately, I'm saved by a Chatot who's been given orders to release me. Thanks, little guy. But who do I know that has a Chatot who would go out of the way to save me? Anyway, birds are cool. As I try to find my way back, I see that Kane has also been captured. I free him, but immediately regret it since he starts aggressively hitting on me again, and he insults me for being rescued by a bird. Hey, leave the bird out of this! Then we find these 3 switches that we obviously have to pull at the same time, but we only have 2 people. Fortunately, Heather shows up at the perfect time and we can escape. But this is a big jungle, and it's easy to get lost. Not only that, but meteor grunts are hidden everywhere, looking to ambush me. I find a familiar-looking tree and cut it, and eavesdrop on a conversation between a commander and his subordinates. Before he leaves, he mentions a girl in his custody. This must be Victoria. I want to go follow them, but I know there are still police officers that need rescuing. I also find the pulse readout for the 3rd and final Tangrowth, and unfortunately for me and my team, it's Grass Rock.
For some reason about 15 seconds of my audio got deleted and I don't wanna re-record right now, but I got lost in the jungle for an hour until I found Amaria, and she tells me that pretty much every Team Meteor member is here.
And they're on high alert because of some mysterious person who took down 2 of the 3 pulses. Oh wait, that was me! I eventually find a library that's not in very good shape, where I meet a strangely dressed man who asks me about dream sickness. Yes, I think I've heard of it, but maybe I was in another timeline or something? Almost like I've experienced these exact events before, but in a slightly different way? Apparently that's normal, according to him. He leaves, but he has main character energy, so I'm sure we'll meet again. I also get the field readout for Corrosive Field and find a stray Growlithe. Growlithe usually accompany police officers, but this one is alone, because it looks like his human is dead. There are 2 more officers to find. One of them is trapped in a cage, and the other is being antagonized by Team Meteor in a collapsing building. Once I rescue them, I go back to the police station where I'm given the dead officer's Growlithe. I already have a fire type on my team, but it never hurts to have more. Then, I go back to stop the pulse, and true to Amaria's words, every named Meteor admin that I've met so far is waiting for me. Borealis, Ace, Zell, and Taka. But I'm not alone, as Amaria shows up to the fight, and even Fern is here despite literally no one asking him to be, and... Oh, that's who has a Chatot. Why is this Meteor admin nicer to me than the guy who's supposed to be on my side? When did Kane show up? Why does Borealis appear to know Heather? Who is this random green-haired girl? Maybe everything will be answered eventually, But for now, I finally get to fight Ace. The Ace of Clubs shows their first card, and strangely enough, it's the Pulse. I remember it's part rock, but I also know that I'm fighting a magician, and things aren't always as they appear with magicians. Wait a minute, let me try that one again. Things aren't always as they appear with magicians. It was actually a Zorora the whole time. Normally it would be dangerous to continue my Fury Cutter sweep against a fire type like Breaksin, but it's raining, so Kricketune can take it, and he also KOs their hacked shiny Roselian Baltoy. But even though Ace's team is pitifully weak, the final Pulse sure isn't. And not only does it KO my secret weapon, its stamina ability makes its defense increase with every hit it survives. And it's gonna survive a lot more considering Ace just used a super potion. And it gets worse. As I attempt to counter its high defense with Guano's boosted Calm Mind, it uses its own boosted growth. It has so many boosts that it can KO most of my team with stored power, so I'm left to rely on the cheapest strategy in the book, Sand Attack. But despite my Paraflinch accuracy drop strategy, nothing I do can leave a scratch on it. And I'm down to my last Pokemon, Bonk the Bronzor. I add Confusion to its growing list of status conditions, and even though it breaks through somehow, Bonk resists Rock and can take a Rock Tomb, and thanks to my excellent Confusion luck, I managed to chip away at its defenses and take it down. But despite my victory, it looks like Heather and her Salamence were taken down by the green-haired girl. Fern isn't anywhere to be seen, so I assume he also got epically owned by Taka's Chatot and ran away from embarrassment, but I digress, because Borealis seems to be worried about Heather for some reason, even using his Crobat to fly her to safety while he chastises his subordinates for attacking a child. But while Ace and the mysterious private accuse him of treachery, Amaria shows him compassion by letting him escape. I follow him back into the city, where it turns out Amaria actually led him into a trap, and the police force I helped earlier arrest him and unmask his true identity. Although based on his concern for Heather, I can already tell who it is. Yes, Cory Molinar and Borealis are the same person. He uses a smoke trap to escape, but I'm told he probably went to his house to the north of Beryl. Since I know I'm about to fight a poison team, I box Kricketune in favor of the shiny Swablu I forgot to tell you I caught, and level her up until she's this super cool looking Altaria. I go to Cory's house, but he's released a toxic mist that's brainwashed the police officers. The chief gives me the field readout for corrosive mist. Oh, that's why his name is Cory. The brainwashed officers are really easy to take down, and the puzzle where I have to turn all these tubes blue is also easy. I then find Heather fast asleep. Knowing Cory, she probably didn't fall asleep on purpose. I confront him, and he has one request, that I beat him in a proper battle. I remember that this upcoming battle was a huge spike in difficulty from before in my first playthrough, and because I saved all the police officers, I get a slightly harder version of the battle. Normally, I would fight him on just the corrosive field, which is annoying but manageable. But now, I have to fight in the corrosive mist, which poisons everything that's not a poison or steel type every turn. I start with a Calm Mind, but his Skrulp drenches Guano in venom, negating his special attack boost and lowering his speed. Then, the poison takes effect. I don't want to stay in with all these stat drops, so I switch to Bonk, but they're instantly hit with the smoke screen. He then switches to Skuntank, which is immune to Psychic. I still try to confuse it, but miss 3 times in a row, and am KO'd. I can temporarily remove the corrosive mist with normal mist and set up a safeguard, but Altaria still doesn't do that much damage to Skuntank, and the field change doesn't last very long. After Salmon gets obliterated, I know I need a better strategy and reset. I lead with Altaria this time and stop the Venom Drench with Mist, but she still doesn't do a lot of damage, and I don't realize that I still have the effects of Mist up even if the terrain disappeared. And once again, I forgot about that damn Skuntank, and my strongest psychic attacker goes down, but I realize something interesting about the field. Fire-type attacks are boosted, and I'm able to take down the Skunk. Cory knows this and has a Marini to counter fire types, but I have Thunder Horse to counter water types. Unfortunately, he sends out his Crobat, which takes it down. This Crobat is nasty. I'm hoping Bonk can resist its attacks, and I can at least pray for confusion luck, but it uses nasty plot, which makes it even scarier, especially since it breaks through the confusion boosts again. But fortunately, luck is back on my side as it keeps hitting itself, and I'm able to KO. With this level up, the tide of this seemingly impossible battle is turned, as right in the middle of the fight, Bronzor evolves into Bronzong. Yes, this is a mechanic in the game. Now I can sweep the rest of his team with a confusion that's not coming from a base 24 special attack stat. Oh. Fortunately, Bronzong is made for stalling, and I do just that with Confuse Ray and Iron Defense. Sadly, I get disabled again, but I just stall it out again. And even though I'm hit with several Venom Drenches, once Confusion is back, Corey is no longer in the house. He knows that after today's events, Team Meteor will be after him and try to control him using Heather. So he knows all he can do is ask me to keep her safe. But Heather knows everything now and confronts her father for his dishonesty and crimes, finally deciding to leave for good. Corey knows he can't stop her this time, so he simply asks her to protect the ruby ring. He then ominously tells me to come to Barrel Bridge for a show. This doesn't sound good. As I step outside, I'm greeted by an Absol. If you remember from the first episode, Absol will appear before a disaster to warn people to stay away. But I press on. I find Corey at the bridge, releasing all of his Pokemon, even his Crobat, which is absolutely heartbreaking when you remember that Crobat is a friendship evolution. As he tosses his Pokeballs into the desert below, he tells me how joining Team Meteor wasn't his choice. One day he came across a traveling merchant carrying a beautiful ruby ring, and he decided to give it to someone he thought was even more beautiful, Heather's mother. But their love story ended in tragedy as she died giving birth. It wasn't an accident. Team Meteor had sent an assassin after her to get the ring. He retaliated, attacking the assassin and getting the ring back, but he took Heather hostage. But he refused to give up one of his only remaining connections to his late wife, so he offered his services instead. In order to keep both the ring and his daughter, he became Agent Borealis. But since he saved Heather from the Meteor Private, he can't return. Because the police know his true identity, he has nowhere left to go. Not even his own daughter wants anything to do with him anymore. He asks me to keep her and the ring safe. And with that, he jumps. Team Meteor is truly awful. They destroy lives, destroy families, manipulate innocent people into committing heinous crimes. But there are far worse things out there, which I'm reminded of as Fern shows up to mock the recent tragedy. As he boasts about what he simply sees as the death of a bad guy, we're interrupted by the sound of an explosion. Apparently it came from the North of City Ward just below us. In this brand new part of the city I haven't been to before, I see a giant set of stairs, with a big hole in them. This must be what exploded. But the police aren't letting anyone pass, so I have no choice but to go to the only ward I haven't explored yet. The Lapis Ward. The first notable thing I see here is yet another person with main character anime hair. She talks about someone being able to escape because it's their birthday, and then runs off. But I see more main characters as I head north to the giant blood splatter. I remember Shelly from the first episode since she let me have this ultra-powerful Cricketune. But the red-haired anime man is a new character named Cal. And on the roof is Aster and Eclipse, the duo of meteor privates I fought in the first episode. They confirm that the blood splatter is indeed Borealis. And also mention someone named Canis Minor, but they're clearly not important right now. Cal is clearly someone who gets riled up easily, and Aster likes to act stupid, annoying Eclipse. But while they're fighting, no one notices the shadowy figure behind them. Until they do. But apparently it's just Shade, the ghost-type gym leader. No, I'm not surprised at this point. But he uses his spooky ghost powers to make the body disappear, and Cal gets even angrier for some reason. After he and Shelly leave, Kane shows up, and he actually drops his aggressive flirty persona for 1 second in order to worry about Heather. But don't worry, it comes back soon. He suggests we go check out the giant hole in the stairs, and he sends me to investigate by distracting the guards. And I don't think I need to tell you how he distracts them. Anyway, it miraculously works, and I go under the stairs and end up in a beautiful crystal cavern. There are a few new Pokemon here, including one I really want for the upcoming gym battle, but I decide to catch them off screen later since I really need to investigate this place. I go down another set of stairs and find a strange-looking door, and a man I recognize from the jungle. He laments that not many people know exactly what lies beneath Reborn City, and tells me that the very core of Reborn is just behind these very doors. And the city, which was built directly on top of this holy site, is a blasphemy. He tells me of the seal, made from ruby, sapphire, emerald, and amethyst. It needs 4 keys to break the seal, and I think I know where one of them is. He then lets me go, as well as the girl, whoever that is, but tells me to share this place with the world. But sure enough, Victoria is here, but so are Acer and Eclipse, who won't show the same mercy. But fortunately, they didn't actually take Victoria's Pokemon, so she can join me in a double battle. Looks like Dragon Breath is strengthened by the new field, and Torracat does decent damage too, but is taken down by a rock slide. My team is a little better against rock types by now, but Victoria's weak Pokemon are KO'd easily, and soon it's a 1v2. But it's no big deal since Thunderhorse works his magic and carries the battle, and I find out that the reason she has her Pokemon was that Borealis let her keep them, and told her to wait for the right moment to escape. Both Borealis and Meteor's leader, the man in the trench coat, were apparently kind to her in captivity, but she wonders if the leader's motivations are noble or just propaganda. And of course, now that I've rescued her, she wants to battle. Guano can easily set up on Pancham at KO, and I can also get Torracat with Air Slash. Sadly, Pikachu's electricity gets him, but Salmon gets the rest of her team. Easy. Then Fern shows up and acts like a douche, bragging about beating Shelly and making her cry. Now he wants to make me cry too, and looks like he finally learned how to add non-grass types to his team. Salmon almost KOs Rhyhorn, but is too fragile to survive, so I set up a Fury Cutter sweep. Sadly, Dartrix takes him down, but Guano finishes the job. Because I'm stupid, I decide to send out Thunderhorse against the ground-type Krokorok, but it uses Dig so I can switch Guano back in. Because I'm stupid, I decide to send out Bonk against the Dark-type Krokorok, and I can't even get a Confuse Ray on before the KO. Now it has a Moxie boost. That's not good. All I can think of is using Nature Power, which turns into Tri-Attack, and I get really lucky by burning it, nullifying the boost and doing chip damage. Fern's last Pokemon is Roserade, and while normally I could just roast it to death, it's raining right now, so fire attacks don't do much. Not to mention Ember is severely underpowered at this point. I do get another burn, but Roserade is a special attacker, so it's not as beneficial, but I'll take it. Guano, however, is the perfect Roserade counter, and despite being put to sleep, he's able to finish the job and make Fern cry. Wow, what a bitch. Victoria then gives me the HM for Rock Smash, but I can't use it without Shelly's gym badge, and I know she's a tough one. But before I can battle her, Cal stops me, not wanting anyone else to upset her, and the combination of the Rain and Torkoal's Drought ability creates one of the coolest looking fields in the game. I've used Torkoal in this game before. I know what it's all about, high physical defense and setup. But for some reason I decide to keep attacking it with physical attacks and let it set up sneaky pebbles. But at least it goes down. Houndoom is stupid enough to use Inferno, a move with 50% accuracy that misses, so Thunderhorse's KO count gets bigger. But sadly, Magmortar ends as Reign of Terror. Altaria doesn't really do much, but I keep her in long enough to almost revenge kill Magmortar and stall out the remainder of the Gay field. Salmon comes in to finish the job and gets an easy Moxie boost, but Flame Body burns her, and this Charmeleon with Dragon Rage starts to do serious damage to my team, ignoring Guano's Calm Mind boost. Looks like once again, it's up to Hephaestus and Tri-Attack. How will Cal try to beat my Quilava? Okay. My Quilava asserts his dominance, and Cal lets me go into the gym, but Shelly isn't ready to fight yet. Kane and Victoria are upstairs trying to comfort her, but when Kane mentions Heather, Shelly realizes that the dead body she found was Heather's father. She's so traumatized that even Kane learns how to read the room and gives her the space she needs. Cal tells me there's a doctor in this ward, and that I should talk to him and see if he'll take a look at Shelly. But once I get to the psychiatric hospital, I see a pink-haired girl leave, and she's clearly eager to get the hell out of there. I get some very weird vibes when I go inside, as a creepy child starts talking to me and tells me that Laura was the name of the girl that just left. Also, according to her, I'm glowing? She then introduces me to everyone. Her name is Anna, she has a twin brother named Noel, and she thinks her Jirachi doll and Noah's Cleffa doll are actual Pokemon. She also introduces her friend Charlotte, who apparently has burn scars even though no one else can see them. As you can probably tell from the hair, Charlotte is Laura's sister, and she says Laura is one of the Reborn's Elite Four. Also, Charlotte and Noel are apparently gym leaders, but they're all stuck in this psych ward/orphanage until they turn 18, even though they're gym leaders? I don't know how that works. Also, apparently the doctor uses an electric Pokemon in his treatments. Yeah, I'm getting very weird vibes from this place. I don't think I should bring Shelly here. But before I can escape, Dr. Connell shows up. And yes, he's the same doctor I saw last episode. He sends out his orderly to test me for some reason, and it's not really a notable battle except I get to show off this shiny graveler I caught off stream underneath the city. After being pressed about it, I finally tell the doctor that Shelly needs evaluation, but I really don't have a good feeling about this. I return to the gym, and Shelly says the only things that will really help her right now are talking to Heather and distracting herself with the gym battle. And let me tell you, Shelly's gym battle is deceptively hard. She fights on the forest field, which normally I would be able to set on fire, but she likes to open with Rain Dance, which nullifies her team's biggest weakness. She also likes to fight in doubles and spam Rock Slide. This gym puzzle seems tricky, but it's easy if you know what you're doing. You have to move a bunch of bookcases in order to build a bridge, but the next computer you have to use will always light up green. Unfortunately, that was just the easy part. I learn about Shelly's inferiority complex, since she's actually the sister of the famously powerful bug-type gym leader from Johto. You know, Bugsy, whom I've absolutely decimated with a Koalava every single time I have played a Gen 2 game. You're about to see the absolute irony of this situation. I open with Obsidian and Thunderhorse, but her Masquerain intimidates them both. I attempt to set up my clandestine cobblestones and paralyze Masquerain, but she sets up Rain and KOs Obsidian with an energy ball. Guano can hit for super effective damage, but he gets hit with a Prankster Confuse Ray, as well as Struggle Bug, which lowers his special attack. Thunderhorse can take Masquerain, but even though Guano breaks through the confusion, the stat drops make Air Slash weaker. Then Anorith comes out and starts rock sliding, and Guano is out. I attempt to stall the rain by sending out Bonk, but look, this isn't going well. Also, don't ask me where I got the camera up because I forgot. But Araquanid is the perfect counter to my fire types, and my first attempt is over. Before attempt number 2, I use an ability capsule to change Obsidian's ability to Sturdy, so I can get a guaranteed turn. This run looks a lot more promising since I can actually get my dubious detritus up, and I even get lucky with a paralysis. Unfortunately, bad confusion luck and an energy ball screw over Obsidian. At least I can take down Illumise the next turn and Masquerain the next, but the combination of Anorith and Yanmega is nasty, and Thunderhorse goes down, and on top of its speed boosts, Yanmega gets the coveted Ancient Power boost to all of its stats. Soon, round 2 is lost. For attempt 3, I forgo setting up my fiendish Feldspar in favor of doing extra damage, but Smackdown only gets Illumise down to yellow, and Shelly loves to use potions in battle. But eventually I get both Illumise and Masquerain down despite her spamming Rock Slide. But Guano and Thunderhorse are easily revenge killed, and Araquanid is super strong on the rain. This team clearly isn't working. We're shut down by this rain. I can't stall it out. I need a new strategy. That's where this random Snover that I can't remember catching comes in. It's frail and vulnerable to both rock and bug moves, but its ability overrides the rain. I replace Guano since he just can't take a Rock Slide. My priority for attempt number 4 is taking down Illumise, but it's surprisingly bulky and doesn't go down in one turn. And once again, Shelly loves her hyper potions. Even though I send Snover out, she just rain dances again. This attempt actually didn't count. For my actual 4th attempt, I remember a very powerful move Obsidian has. It means sacrificing my only rock type, but it gets Illumise and I can Ice Shard Masquerain the next turn. This is already looking a lot more promising. My 2 leads go down, but I can now turn the field into Burning Field. Unfortunately, Rock Slide, and Araquanid, and Camerupt doesn't have good synergy with Bonk. But then I remember my battle with Julia. Remember Pycone? He's now a big, strong Fortress. And for attempt number 5, he does what he does best. And Snover can Ice Shard Masquerain, and even tank a Rock Slide, which sadly takes out Thunder Horse. But now it's time to light it up, and I barbecue Anorith and Yanmega easily. This Araquanid is still scary and manages to take out Camerupt, but Volbeat doesn't stand a chance, and Araquanid soon follows, as I finally win. Shelly, I'm gonna stop you right there. You are 1,000 times the trainer that Bugsy will ever be. Bugsy literally uses a Metapod and a Kakuna in his gym battle. He doesn't even know the concept of coverage. The only time I have ever lost to Bugsy was when I was 10 and decided to see what it would be like to start with a Chikorita. And I didn't understand the concept of raising more than one Pokemon. Bugsy is an idiot for thinking he is the better bug trainer. I get the badge as well as Struggle Bug, but unfortunately Dr. Connell shows up to evaluate Shelly. Cal gets very annoyed with him, especially when the doctors start psychoanalyzing him, and he can't control his temper. Shelly tries to get him to calm down, but he lashes out in anger, hitting her. Outside, Cal is deeply regretting his actions, and Victoria tries to help him in the only way she knows how, by inviting him to study with her at Apophil Academy with her sensei Kiki. Cal actually agrees to this, and they leave. And of course Kane is here, eagerly awaiting another rematch. Which I'll do next time! A lot happened this episode, including some very dark plot points. Tackling certain subjects can very easily enter cheesy territory, and before the episode 19 edits, some people thought it came out of nowhere and only existed to be edgy. But I honestly don't remember the old plot very well, and I thought the version I just witnessed was done very well. And perhaps it foreshadows that not everyone in Team Meteor is fully devoted to the cause. On a different note, I'm really starting to notice just how many characters this game has, and this episode introduced a lot of them at the same time. And when a cast of characters is this big, it's inevitable that some of them will get the short end of the stick in terms of development. And this might be a hot take, but I think that introducing a brand new character in episode 19 when there's already such a big cast wasn't a good move, and they should have added more development to the previously existing characters instead. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry it's been a really long time since I've uploaded a video, but I've been really busy since I just went to a con. But if you like, comment, or subscribe, I'll know that more people are interested in this series, which will inspire me to keep a more consistent upload schedule. Thank you, and see you next time.